Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Dying Wish, Symptoms of Survival, of November 3rd on Sharptone Records. The album has 11 tracks, 32 minutes in length, and this is the band's second full-length studio album. They are an American hardcore band. Coming into this record, I was expecting the album to not have a defined structure, a defined design. Throw in all 11 songs into the mix, wherever they land, and the record's going to play itself out. At least that was my expectation. It's not the case. Now there's two elements that allow this record to have a little bit more of a definition in terms of the design, in terms of the structure. One of them is the overall length. Obviously that plays a role, but it plays a positive one. It makes the album more fluid, it makes the album more engaging, but it also allows you to not feel like the record repeats itself because of its overall length being so short. There's really no room for repetition. Also a song like Paved in Sorrow. This is a ballad that's predominantly clean vocals, smack down in the middle of the album, dividing the record from side A to side B. This song has critical importance in the design and in the overall appreciation of the record. You're able to see the aggression and heaviness of the album come to fruition in side A. You're hit with Paved in Sorrow, a song that's very unique, resets your mind, resets your ears, resets your experience with the album, and then you re-engage again with the same sort of experience that you got in the beginning. Even if there is repetition on side B compared to side A, you almost forgot about it because this song really changes your perception of how the album carries itself out. So the importance of Paved in Sorrow as a song, but also the importance of Paved in Sorrow in terms of where it's placed on the record, it cannot be underlined. It definitely defines the overall design, defines the overall structure, and defines the overall playability. As far as the sound is concerned, this is obviously a hardcore album, but it's a hardcore album with a lot of different influences. Thrash metal, groove, metalcore, melodic metal. There's a lot of different pieces that allow them to play with these songs, and even though they all have a very similar starting point and a very similar finish line, they don't necessarily walk exactly the same path, song in and song out. It's an album that has both forward movement and lateral movement. The forward movement on this record comes predominantly from the guitars, but the drums help define it. And the drums help define it specifically with the heavier side of the guitar sound. This album has this barrage, this machine gun heavy approach from drums and guitars together that becomes a little bit of the calling card in the DNA of the entire record. That doesn't mean every song has that guitar sound and that drum sound experience, but that experience, it's pretty significant in terms of how it connects the songs, even though there are other elements that come in and differentiate themselves on a track-by-track basis. Either be bringing some groovier guitar riffs, some more thrashier guitar riffs, some more melodic, almost melodic death metal influences into some of these songs. You're able to create heaviness in a consistent way, in delivering it in a consistent way, but then changing how you get to those heavy points, and that's what's going to make the songs feel and sound different on a track-by-track basis, but always pushing the tracks forward. The lateral movement of this record comes from the drums and the drums alone, because the drums have dual role already. They're pushing the tracks forward because of the heaviness that they provide to that heavy guitar sound. But when you look at the drums separated from that, you see that they always have a little bit of lateral movement as well. They feel very warm, they feel very connected, very heavy. But when they separate the cymbals, that splashing sound that comes sometimes almost at the distance, it allows for you to create a sense of depth and a sense of space between the drums and by themselves. They're not necessarily separating themselves from the guitars because the heavier side of the drum sound is still connected to the guitars, but the other side of the drum sound feels almost like it's in an island. This is really important because not only creates lateral depth to the way the songs come across, it also creates a sense of space, and with space sometimes comes size. So you're not making the songs big as far as the volume is concerned, you're making the songs feel bigger because of the size that they take. And this drum sound, the ability to have this separation and connection when it comes to the guitars, definitely creates a nice dynamic at the bottom of the sound experience of this record. Now, as far as the vocals are concerned, I really like the range. I like the heavier vocals, the the more screaming vocals, but I really like the clean vocals as well. The clean vocals perhaps comes to better fruition in Paved in Sorrow just because of the dynamics of that song, just because of how that song comes across, the atmosphere that it creates, so you're able to connect a little bit better because it's not just a sprinkle, it's the main chorus. But throughout the record, the clean vocals are used more as a sprinkle, as an add-on value to the way these tracks come across, in order to emphasize certain moments within the songs, in order to emphasize certain atmospheres and certain key lyrical content that needed a different delivery, that needed a little bit more of a somber, sometimes clear delivery with that vocal approach. The screaming vocals pack the aggression, they pack the intensity, they help define a lot of the heavier moments of this record, and that definition stays very constant. The changes are between the two styles. Within the two styles, they're very balanced and they stay very connected. All around, a very complete album. I hate to use the word mature, but this is a great album all around. It feels to me that they understood what takes and how can we improve upon what we've done before, taking lessons and moving them into execution and creating an album that is firing on all cylinders. I honestly feel like this is a record that has all of the hardcore elements in it, but it offers a little bit more than that. Normally hardcore albums tend to be straight to the point. This one is not the case. This one is very rich, is very textured, and has great lyrical content that allows the listener to dive deeper into the tracks and into the record and really disseminate what those songs are all about. So great job by Dying Wish, a phenomenal record. Symptoms of Survival, definitely a step up from where they were before, and just really opens the eyes of fans and those that have been listening to the band in terms of what the future could hold for a band that's this creative and that's moved this much of the needle between two albums. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with Starved. The machine gun guitars and drums right then and there. Like, you're gonna get it right from the get-go. And then you have the heavier vocals to really emphasize that sort of power, that sort of heaviness, that sort of thickness, really creating an intense experience. Now, you have moments where the sound moves in more of a linear fashion, and this enhances a little bit of a dark experience that this track has. The clean vocals hit you with a little bit of a somber blanket that plays really well into the lyrical content. But then once you return back into the start, into that heaviness of sound, that Machine Gun Barrage, you just feel like this is a track that has just great experience, great impact, great aggression. I love the drum sound throughout this entire song. Talk about creating depth. That lateral movement is well represented in this song, as is the forward movement. Everything that I talked about, the sound on this album, is pretty much emphasized in one single song here with Starved. Next you have Tongues of Lead. This track has a little bit of a groovier guitar sound, and the vocals help add aggression where the guitars and drums are not necessarily emphasizing it. So you have a groovier song, still heavy, but a groovier song, and then you have the vocals filling in the gaps as far as creating that bigger thickness all around. Also very direct in its movements. At times you feel like the track has a little bit of an unhinged experience, both sonically and vocally, but the groovier side of the track allows you to feel like, doesn't matter how far you got off of the beaten path, doesn't matter how unhinged the track became, you're able to find your path and you're able to find your way back home. The consistent heaviness that the song has from start to finish definitely becomes a trademark, but the groovier side of the track allows that heaviness to come across differently. Last but definitely not least, Kiss of Judas. First of all, I love the great guitar melody that this track has. It sets itself apart without necessarily losing anything as far as the heavier side of the album and of the song are concerned. Almost a little bit of an In Flames vibe, old school In Flames, as far as the grittiness, as far as the heaviness, but also the melody. The guitars definitely impacted this song greatly, and even though the song still has that DNA gun barrage of drums and guitars together, the melodic riffs, the way they impact the song really softens the blow. It makes the song feel a little bit more dynamic. It makes the song feel a little bit more fluid. The heaviness becomes a little bit better dispersed throughout the track. Great drum sound all around, and a vocal performance that sounds, it just sounds powerful. It's like pissed off attitude, pure aggression, pure intensity. For a song this melodic, the guitars pushing that side of the experience. You have the vocals coming over the top and completely demolishing everything. Just really powerful from that standpoint. This is it. Dying Wish with Symptoms of Survival, out November 3rd on Sharptone Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.